Hi everyone. So welcome to today's video, and this is all about the CAT 2024 analysis which happened yesterday. So the structure, of course, slightly changed this year. So the number of questions increased from 66 to 68, and the two questions that increased was in DILR basically. One more change that happened normally is a paper pattern of ERC was slightly different. We'll talk about that in detail. So now, if you look at the total number of questions, as you can see on the screen that I'm sharing with you, so you will see that VRC there were total 24 questions, out of which 22 were MCQs. So only two were Theta questions, which is a big surprise. Same goes for DILR. 22 questions they had, out of which only 12 were MCQs, but the 10 were Theta questions, which is again a very high number considering the last few years pattern. For quant also 14 MCQs and 8 Theta questions. So that's the breakup of 68 questions. Now, as you all can see on the screen also, this is what we are trying to highlight. So 66 questions last year versus 68 question this year, and the change that happened in the ILR section. So two questions increased. One more thing, the pattern of sets also changed. So till for last year it had four sets and five questions each. This year they went with two sets of five questions versus and three sets of four questions. So basically you had five sets this year. Uh, and you could have had a choice to attempt the different sets that you are comfortable. Overall look, if we compare with last year's paper, it was easier, especially quant section also and the ILR section also. So the first initial estimate that I or a lot of people have, that this is, or rather we have, is that the cutoffs are going to go slightly higher compared to last year. PRC also big surprise, as in Parajumble was missing completely this year, which was there as a part of the paper for 10 years basically. So that is one thing. Also, one change that happened this year, that is the placing of the question. So normally what happens in VRC, that is initial 16 questions you have RC questions, four passages, four questions each, and the remaining eight questions used to be the VA questions. But this year they were jumbled in between RCs basically. So after one RC, you could see some of the VA questions, which can cause a little bit of difficulty to the mind in terms of the surprise basically. In terms of difficulty, VARC section compared to last year is more or less similar only across all three slots. DILR was obviously slightly better because it had more number of questions and more number of sets. Quant was, of course, very easy compared to last year. So of course we are comparing with last year. So last year was a different year, was an anomaly, you can call it. So that's the first initial take. Now coming to cutoffs, and of course this is an estimate, so take this with pinch of salt, because now what will happen is the response sheet will be out, and then the picture will be slightly more clearer in terms of cutoffs. So across slots, what we are expecting is for 99 percentile. For slot 1, it should be in the range of 90 to 95, sorry, 90 to 92. For slot 2, it should be in the range of 88, 90, and slot 3, it should be in the range of 90 to 95. Obviously 99.5, 99.9 will going to increase, because last year it was around, if I'm not wrong, it was around 105 or something. 99.9 I'm talking. This year it should go definitely to 120 odd marks, or even higher probably, considering the fact that paper was easier compared to last year. So the rest things will also jump up in that aspect. Now coming back to 95th percentile, of course 58-60 for slot 3, 55-57 for slot 2, and 56-58 for slot 1. For 90th percentile, of course 45-48 raw score we are talking, of course, and then 44-46 for slot 2, and then 45-47 for slot 1. This is the overall cutoffs that we are talking. Of course we'll try and discuss about the individual sections also, if possible, and what were the questions, and etc etc. For 90th percentile, 45-48 for slot 3, 44-46 for slot 2, and 45-47 for slot 1. For 85th percentile, again 45, 48 for slot 3, 43, 46 for slot 2, and 40 to 45 for slot 1. And for 80th percentile, which is normally the benchmark for getting an IIM call, sectional cutoffs, of course, also. For slot 3, it is around 3740. For slot 2, around 3840. And for slot 1, around 3538. Now, 80th percentile across section, and this is again expected. So for VRC, it should be around 18 to 20 for slot 3, which translates roughly 6 or 7 questions right. For slot 2, slightly higher, probably 7 8 questions right. And for slot 1, also slightly higher, for 7 8 questions. For DILR, 13 to 15, which means one set right of 5 questions and you are through to the sectional cutoff across all three slots. Slot 1 slightly easier, so couple of questions more probably, so around 6 7 questions right will give you around 80th percentile. For QA, slot 3 around 10 12 marks only for 80th percentile, which is again translates to 4 questions right probably. For slot 2 also around 4 questions right. For slot 1 around 5 questions right, because comparatively it was easier. So that is with the 80th percentile part. Now coming to across sections, verbal ability, as we discussed, 4 passages, 4 questions is that remained unchanged, but parajumbles was not there, and only 2 theta questions. So out of which 3 summary, 3 para completion, and 2 odd man out basically. So that was a big change. Then the passages, if we talk, these were the genres or the topics of the passages across all 3 slots, defined across the difficulty levels of easy and medium basically. For DILR, the change happened. 2 questions increased, and the pattern of questions also changed. So 2 sets of 5 questions and 3 sets of four questions. So 2 sets were easy across all 3 slots. One was medium, and 2 were difficult sets basically. So do let us know in the comment if possible which slot you were taking the exam and which sets you solved or tried attempting, and you whether you have a similar feeling about this or not. For QA, this was the breakup. So arithmetic, of course, as usual, dominated across all 3 slots, around 8 9 questions. Algebra around 6 7 questions. Slot 2 had slightly lesser questions. Modern math around 3 questions each, and geometry around 3 questions, and numbers basically in slot 1 and slot 3 there was hardly 1 or 2 questions of numbers, but slot 2 had more questions basically. So slot 3 didn't have any modern math questions. So this is the whole overall picture, and these are the estimates. I would like to show you all one more time, and this is what uh, should be the expectation. Once the response sheet is out, we'll come to know about it in more detail. Now, what should be the next course of action? Of course, start looking at other exams also, which are lined up, like NMAT or SNAP or CMAT or CET, for example. So start preparing for them, including ZAT, MyCat as well, and then make sure you are really through. So you have a lot of other options coming up, and the paper pattern and the difficulty level will be entirely different than what you are used to or what you have tackled in CAT. So do make sure you try and practice the different varieties also for all these exams. So I think this is it from my side. If you have any queries or questions, do let us know in the comment box. We'll be very happy to help you guys. Thank you so much.